When this person lost someone close to them, the grief didn't show up right away. At first, it looked like staying busy, helping family, getting through the funeral. But a few weeks later, when everything got quiet, it all caught up to them. And that's when they started wondering if microdosing plant medicine could help them actually process what happened. Hi, I'm Victoria. I'm a spiritual outlaw traveling the States in my van, and I am here to bring you real life stories and experiences in sacred plant medicine and my personal take on the whys and the hows that go with these experiences. And today we're talking about something really heavy and a lot. Grief, emotional processing, and one person's experience using sacred plant medicine after losing someone they deeply loved. This story started with a sudden loss. Someone close to them had passed, and like most situations like that, the first few days, they're full of things that need to get done. Family was coming, plans had to be made, and there wasn't really much time to stop and think about what was happening. They spent most of that first week helping out, like taking care of relatives, taking care of other people, making sure everyone else is okay, making the arrangements, and just checking in on friends and family also. They were really in this space of trying to stay occupied and doing all the things. And during that time, they noticed they weren't really breaking down in the way that they had expected when they lost someone close to them. They were sad, but they felt really distant, like it hadn't really fully landed yet. After the funeral, everybody slowly went back to their normal lives, and that's when things started to change for them. They went home, they got back into the routine, and they started noticing how often this person that had passed would come up in small and significant ways. Seeing something they would have laughed at with that person that had passed. Maybe they thought about texting them. They sat and they remembered conversations, and it all started happening every single day. And at first, it was something that they could manage, but after weeks of this happening, it started building and building and building within them. They weren't sleeping, they felt distracted all the time, and they could tell there was a lot sitting underneath the surface of their body that they really couldn't access. That's when they started looking into microdosing sacred plant medicine. They've heard some people talk about psilocybin and earth medicines and helping them with these places of this emotional processing. So they decided to get curious and try it. They started small, they kept it simple, and for the first few doses, nothing really major had happened like that they thought would happen. Mostly they were subtle changes, little feelings of being calmer, a little more awareness of being present. And one day, while going through some old photos of the person that they had lost, something had started to shift with them. They stopped on a picture. They sat with this picture longer than usual. This picture and this memory came back up of this person that they had lost so vividly and so clearly. And instead of pushing it away like they had been doing, they decided to stay with it. And that's when the emotions came up. They cried for the first time since the loss. Not because the medicine created anything new in them, but because it allowed them to access whatever was hiding beneath the surface, the armor that they had put on that blocked all those feelings. And after that, they started noticing a new pattern. On those days, when they were microdosing, these memories came up and maybe they were easier for them. Sometimes they experienced grief, and that gets to be okay. Sometimes there is this place of gratitude, and that's where the love and the compassion come in. And sometimes there's the both and, because let's face it, we're human. We have the duality of all the emotions almost sometimes at the exact same time, right? So over time, they felt like they were actually processing the loss of the grief of the loved one instead of simply carrying it around like this armor, this vest that was really feeling like weight of piano on their back. The grief didn't disappear, but it had softened. It had felt less stuck in their physical body. And that was the part that really stood out to them the most, feeling like they were finally able to move through the loss. thoughts and the emotions. So what stands out here is the timing. A lot of people don't process grief immediately. Let's face it, we're human. We have all the things that we need to do, and we live in a state of fight or flight. Our nervous system keeps us safe when these things happen. So in the beginning, the nervous system in plant medicine, it softens into this functioning mode, right? There's so much happening. There's too much responsibility. There's so much external stimulation. So the emotional processing, it actually gets delayed, right? And that's normal. And that's okay. There's no shame or judgment in that. That just is. And what happens here is that the grief shows up later, once life has slowed down and it is returned back to normal for other people. And that's often when these people that have experienced this deep loss, they realize how much is still sitting within the body, right? So psilocybin and earth medicines, they can help by increasing the emotional access to this grief. It's not about forcing the access, but it's softening and reducing the avoidance. And it's helping people to stay present within them with what's already there so that they can process the emotion and it doesn't stay trapped in the body. And that's so incredibly important, because grief, it usually needs to be felt, right? And when it's felt, that's when it starts to move. That's when this person seemed to experience this ability to move through the grief. And that's often the difference between carrying grief and being able to process it. So I'm going to pause this portion and I'm going to take you through a beautiful breathwork practice, because if you're someone that has experienced grief, like all of us have in our lifetime, whether it's someone close to us or someone that is a relative or someone that is an acquaintance, we all need to process this grief. So I'm going to take you through a beautiful breathwork practice just to calm the nervous system so that we're not living in this state of fight or flight. So it's very simple. You can do this while you're driving or while you're in community, while you're at home. Just know that keep your eyes open if you are driving. It's a simple breathing pattern of 4 breaths in through the nose and 7 breaths out through the mouth. So it's a 4 count in through the nose, a 7 count out through the mouth. And it's nice and slow. So we're going to soften the nervous system. Okay. So if you're here with me in this practice, find your place and find your spot in a comfortable place, sitting down, lying down, whatever feels good for you. Connect to your sits bones on the earth or on your chair, on the mattress, whatever you're seated on or lying down on. Closing down your eyes if that feels safe for you. I want you to take a deep inhale in through the nose. Open mouth, audible sigh, let it go. Sealing the lips, begin to breathe in through your nose for a slow count of 4, 2, 3, 4. Expanding the belly on these inhales, exhaling through the mouth for a slow count of 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing in through the nose, expanding the belly. 2, 3, 4. Exhaling through the mouth for a count of 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 2 more rounds. Breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Out through the mouth through 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Last round. Inhale for 4, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through the mouth for 7, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keeping your eyes closed, return back to nasal breathing in and out through the nose and notice what you notice here. Notice if anything softened or shifted. If your shoulders relax just a little bit and your jaw maybe unclenched and your eyebrows release just a little bit. Notice if there's just a moment of stillness here that you can be in this present moment. So now what stands out to me in this story is how the delay of grief really works. A lot of people expect grief to hit immediately, right? They expect this crying, this emotional collapse, or sometimes it's the obvious reaction right after the loss, kind of like what we see in the movies, right? But that's not always how it works. A lot of times the nervous system goes straight into this fight or flight, this management mode, taking care of all the things. There are people to call, things to organize, family to support. And in that phase, the body prioritizes function over feeling. It's keeping you safe, okay? That's why so many people say things like, I don't know why I'm not crying right now, or I know I'm sad, but I can't access it. That isn't emotional avoidance. I'm here to tell you. It is the nervous system keeping you in this protection mode. And then later, when life gets quiet, everyone goes off onto their own lives, right? That stored emotion starts surfacing. That's what happens here. And this is where microdosing sacred plant medicine can come and be this useful tool in a very specific way. And I'm here to tell you that it's not to remove the grief. It's not to make this loss easier, I air quote, but it's because it can soften the emotional defenses and armor that have been created through the nervous system long enough for the stored stuff and the stored emotions and the stored material to come forward. That's one of the biggest things people report with microdosing. There's this more emotional availability. There's more honesty within themselves. There's more access to the memory and to the feeling. And with grief, there's this access. It actually matters because this unprocessed grief tends to stay active in the body. And in my opinion, that's what causes disease. It can look like insomnia, emotional flatness, anxiety, irritability, or even feeling this disconnection from your life. But when grief actually starts moving through crying, through remembering, through speaking, through dancing, through journaling, through sacred rages and screams, even just sitting with the truth of the loss, the nervous system starts integrating it and starts softening it and allows it to release from the body. And the integration is the key, is the goal. It's not for you to move on without feeling it, but it's actually about making room for it. So sacred plant medicine can help create that room. But the medicine itself isn't the healing. It is a tool. The healing is what you do within yourself when the things and emotions come up. It's the talking, it's the feeling, it's the resting, it's being in nature and letting the body complete what it didn't get to complete in the beginning of this loss. And grief has a way of doing that on its own timeline. And sometimes microdosing plant medicine allows you to stop resisting the timeline and actually step forward into it in this way of healing. And so I thank you for being here so much with me inside this episode. This is a big episode on the Sacred Mycelium podcast. These are the kinds of conversations that aren't always easy to have, but they actually really truly matter. And if this one resonated with you, if you know of someone that has lost someone close to them, I'd love for you to share it with them. And I'd love for you to allow yourself to feel into the feels of life. And if you're curious about sacred plant medicine, please reach out. I'm here to support you, and I will see you on the next episode.